Hello, welcome to Labor Day weekend with Birds of a Feather in the CoEd edition. Your girl AJ the Suburban Princess, and welcome Eddie McPhee.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo, he is. Where are you broadcasting from again? As
From
usual.
my usual location, 1706 North Fifth Street. You see the sign right over my shoulder on this
What
side.
does it say?
I'm on the wrong way this side.
I know it's on the other side. Look, you can't tell when you're
It's
looking at it.
backwards, yeah, it's flipped. So I'm just like, oh, I feel like an idiot just then.
Like, welcome anyway back to Birds of a Feather. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the holiday laborless edition. Although Eddie's working, I'm not. I'm off. Anyway, but welcome. We're going to talk about our birds. CoEd edition, as we know, has come to fruition simply for the fact that Eddie decided that he would deal with my torture of constantly talking about sports without a male perspective. And this is why the beginning of the season is coming, and we're ready to talk some actual football.
Eagles football.
Yeah, Eagles football that count. So Eddie, I know you've been busy, but you know that those 3 preseason games, now that they're over, do you honestly feel like you've learned anything about the squad up until this past week with these acquisitions?
Well, it's you learn very little just because of you only really see your starters for one game, so that whole thing is just like, oh, okay, here they are for one series, and the rest of the game you got the second stringers.
Exactly.
And that comes with territory. They don't want anybody to get hurt. They don't want to lose any starters on a freak accident. And I totally get that, especially the fact that it's harder now to gauge the guys who are on the bubble when you only have one less game now too. I mean, we're rocking 3 games instead of 4.
3 games instead of 4, right?
So if somebody's on that bubble, you got to see what they can do in 3 games, before you make that decision. And it's just
it's a lot of pressure, and it's less opportunity to show yourself. Well, we know by the 3rd game that clearly Reed Sennett wasn't going to stay. So that's one thing I learned.
Yeah. Well, then they signed him back to the practice squad, I think, didn't they?
Yes, they did. That's right.
Okay.
I mean, they pretty much brought everybody back with the exception of a few. But
I wanted receivers.
Yes. Let me just tell you, speaking of wide receiver, I'm glad you said that because Deion Kane, I thought was gone for good, but they kept him on the practice squad.
Him and Covey both. And Allen. Yeah, they got Allen still too. So.
Because realistically, what is our luck with Olympic runners that don't stay on this team?
But the thing is, he's a little more talented than whatever the fuck his name
Jeremy
is.
Bloom.
Yeah, Jeremy Bloom. He was a skier too. So
you know why I remember that name?
Why?
And I think I've told you this story because do you know back in the day when Runyon used to have his bowl with the birds in Cherry Hill, and I ended up on a random team for charity. You bowl with whatever player and the kids.
You blow with Jeremy.
And I beat his ass in bowling. Nice. So I think I made him look bad, even though he's cute. But I think he felt some type of way. And I was just
really?
Get over it, bitch. Anyway, but long story short, it is good to see that Devin made it because obviously he's going to come in handy later.
At least he's a track star, not a skier. So I mean,
this is true. And all he did was run. And I liked his little celebration when he did get a touchdown because he showed you, this is where I'm from. You see me hurdle?
Yeah, that motherfucker's he's got a jetpack in his back.
Which is helpful. It'll be helpful. Trust me, come November. All right, so Eddie,
you can't teach speed, and speed kills. So
speed does kill, and you definitely can't teach it. That's why I said they were stupid to not let him come back. But I wouldn't have been shocked had it.
I think he needs to be a project for a while.
Yeah,
especially since he hasn't been in a game in a couple of years.
True, and that's why I say and even with that other tight end that stayed, Calcaterra, him being almost a firefighter, 20,000 concussions.
He's got good hands. Though.
Well, and that's all. Honestly, if that's all we need at that time, that's fine. That comes.
Richard Rodgers is sitting by the bat phone though. So
Dick Rod knows he's been brought back, taken away, taken away. He knows that call's coming. So
he knows they need him. He's like, I got you. He's like Batman. He just calls me. He shows up. He's
probably chilling with in Dallas' spot. You can hang out until they need you again, bro. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But we basically want to talk not only before this regular season because we know it's about to be popping next week after the holiday. Happy Labor Day to all who are celebrating and not just cooking.
Get some barbecue. Get some
barbecue or get
relax.
Some sleep. Right.
Time. Relax, spend time with family.
Reconnect or disconnect like me.
Anyway. Be safe and take care of yourself. That's all.
Yes, definitely take care of yourself. So the first topic I want to talk about is the acquisitions because some of these random signings we've had in literally the last 48 hours have been very interesting. And I'm very excited about, because now that they have finally taken up on doing the social media portion this year with all the questions and the videos that they're showing. I just saw the most recent one they just posted on the
Yeah.
Eagles social media, which was funny because they're definitely doing the things that I thought they should do with the other teams that they did last season. Because everybody likes to see guys have personality, and kind of that's fun to see. Although I need Miles Sanders to chill because he be trying to be up in every video, and I need him to stop being Diddy and just chill out. Like there are some videos you don't have to be in, boo boo. Work on that, getting that hammy, okay? Anyway,
I love those videos they camp and they're like, "Who has the best hair?" They ask some questions. Who has
well,
this? Who has that? They're fucking hilarious.
The one I like the most so far has been who smells, and Jalen Hurts just looked at the camera like, I can't do that. Even though he said there are some people that are funky, but I refuse.
Yeah, because he was like, I ain't calling nobody out.
I ain't calling nobody out because he knows.
Somebody called out Derek. Who called out Derek? Derek Barnett. Somebody called out Derek Barnett.
Somebody did say Derek Barnett. I think it was one of the safety guys. Yeah. So I'm like, well, he didn't obviously care to answer. I think another funny one was the one video where they were trying to see, because everybody still wants to see this battle between Slay and Smitty, and I think it's funny.
I love their videos.
Their whole banter is exciting to see because I said one of these days, these motherfuckers is actually going to put the words to the field. So hopefully it'll come, in that weird period, that extra game, maybe before the playoffs, where I'm speaking into existence. They will make the playoffs again. That they can just do a run on or something real quick.
Yeah.
But I love it though. And speaking of Slay, he's been named as one of the many captains. For the defensive side of the ball, which is very, very humbling for him, especially because he's been in the game so long, and us acquiring him a while ago. I think he should have been an Eagle to begin with, but that's just me.
He's always wanted to be an Eagle too. For a while.
Did. That's why it's almost bittersweet and funny that he got to get 2 picks when they played in Detroit. Or no, they played Detroit here. And he got 2. Oh, did he get 2 picks? No, he got 2 picks in Detroit last year. So they're starting the game in Detroit this season. So
he gets to do something to him again.
Hopefully. He might get to do something again, and he might get who's a CJ Gardner Johnson fella to help him out. I like his attitude.
His attitude.
His attitude. I like the fact that he's like, I'm just a football player, man. There's nothing to me. I'm just trying to be here and be an Eagle. He's already clapped back at one of the local bloggers because he felt like they were talking about the wrong stuff. And I'm like, he's already telling y'all how to write.
Yeah, I love it. I love what he said. Is like, if you don't want to play the game, don't be here.
Thank you. And that's the bottom line.
And I just like his attitude of like, hey, the guy's a dog, and I love it. He's gonna
do some damage.
We need somebody. We need somebody that plays like. We need safety that plays like that. We haven't had. Malcolm was the last one we had to play.
Malcolm and Dawkins, which is saying a lot. We haven't had anybody since Malcolm and Dawkins that have really, technically Jenkins and Dawkins, that have really made an impact in the safety. We've had plenty of corners. I'm still kind of salty that they even let go of Rodney McLeod. I think they could have kept Rodney. I think he's making strides. But he's going to be fine, and he's in Coltville, Indianapolis. He'll be fine. But I still thought he was coming up, and I thought he was pretty safe. But whatever. They wanted to get the newness back into that.
But we got younger again.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The newness. They wanted to get all the old heads out, and technically Rodney would be. Although I still look at him and I still think he's a young dude. But
we're building for the future. It's going to be the team's going to be together for a minute. Some of these guys, so.
They have 50-11 UDFAs, so somebody had to stick, even if they don't. I mean, 85. Howie has been pressed, okay? Howie and team have been pressed to fix the mistakes. And obviously one of the major mistakes, we know that Eddie probably can't wait. I wish I had a button to just say who has finally been traded to Vikings. Ding, ding, ding. Jalen Reagor is gone.
Reagor.
See you later, baby. I'm not one of these people to, knock you into the ground. But one thing I do love that I recently just saw on Inside the Birds, Jason Avant, who is one of our stellar vets and alumni who's all over social media now with his podcast with Quentin Michael. He was saying basically what everybody has not liked about Reagor, besides the fact he's had a struggle bus year, being consistent in play, is that your mental has to be tough, and you can't be popping off at people when you have a bad day. If there's one thing I've noticed already since he's been gone, is that you have a culpable amount of wide receivers who you can tell right now they're going to make it personal on the field, and you won't see them pop back all the time, which is what you want. I mean, going back to Miles Sanders, I'll say that he's been someone who's been like popping back sometimes too, and I wish he would stop because he needs to worry about his health. Obviously, the hamstring issue has hindered him again, and even if he's been back on the field practicing, there's a reason why not only with CJ Gardner that the Eagles just picked up Trey Sermon from the 49ers yesterday, so that we need a big back. So what do you think about those two things?
I love both of those signings. I think because what they bring to the team, huh?
I was mad excited when I heard Trey Sermon. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think because I've seen him a couple times, and I'm like,
he's a solid running back. I mean,
yes.
He's 6 feet tall, 215 pounds. He's a hammer.
He's a bammer.
Yeah. And
he's a bammer.
That's a hammer and a bammer.
Hammer and a bammer. You know.
Need somebody that's gonna run angry.
I think Jalen Hurts literally got Howie and said, "Yo, you got to give me some bammers because this ain't gonna work if I don't have some peeps around me." Yeah. Because they have a certain discipline at that school, obviously.
I mean, you look at the SEC and what they bring to the table is like they bring guys who pretty much are almost ready to play in the NFL already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're talking about Georgia, Alabama, all those guys. They're ready to play.
And you put Josh Jobs was a bammer, right? When we kept Josh Jobs.
Josh Jobs.
Because I thought he was Oregon.
Alabama.
He was Alabama. Yeah. Because I remember I thought he was Oregon. You were like, no, he's from Bama. And I said, oh, I feel stupid.
Yeah,
well, I'm glad he stayed, though.
A lot of people thought he was going to actually get drafted, but he never got drafted.
Right.
But right. I think he's going to be a steal for us. And
are you freezing? I think you're freezing.
No, we're good.
For a hot minute, you were like,
oh yeah.
You don't know it.
Maybe it did for a second. Like I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, so whenever you feel like somebody's doing that and you want to like not make them stop talking, but trying to tell them like you should just go.
Yeah, freeze.
But no, going back to Josh Jobs, you're right. Like I think that most people probably thought, and I think a lot of Bama players obviously have kind of that reputation for always being ready. But here's the problem, because when you cut down to the most obvious situation with Rieger leaving here, then you have the whole issue with JJ Arcega-White finally going to the Seahawks and already being dropped and going to the practice squad. So now you wonder, how are some guys just maybe not trained well, not mentally keeping up with the play, playbook? What do you think it is? Because it obviously takes a certain brand of guy. I'm not saying that just Alabama, because I'm sure there's plenty of schools that are still cranking out people like LSU, with OD.
Clemson, those other schools they put out guys. Ohio State, Penn State. But,
so do you think what do you think it is with the Rieger, JJ Arcega kind of question mark? Besides the fact that they're first rounders that didn't go right.
Oh yeah, I just think they just never. For some reason they just could never pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a sad part because it was like, okay, clearly he's talented,
right?
But it's like, maybe just not NFL material,
or at least just not working with them.
Yeah, or just not in that system, or just not in that whole and then all of a sudden, then his mental's all screwed up,
right?
Because they don't understand what their role is, and they can't handle it. So.
That's key, though, because what things we fans don't consider is you also don't know what they're asking them to do. And they may not have thought when they got there they had to do that extra stuff. But again, if you're like what CJ said, if you're a football player, you're going to adapt regardless.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that sometimes that was always a thing with the Eagles, too, even when Andy Reid was here, that you turn players into 20,000 different positions. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Why y'all do that? Like he came here as a linebacker, but then you made him a guard or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, were you really trained for all that?
Yeah, you make them good in one position first, then you give them a secondary. But
right.
You don't try to make them do too much at once.
And that's the thing. That's why I think some guys it's just an exception. You don't know what they're asking them to do. Mm-hmm. And supposedly Rieger was supposed to be so fast. So I don't know what happened because I didn't see that speed. I thought a couple people thought that were crazy. But that was
the change is going to be good for him, I think.
I think it is too. And I wish him well. Truly I do. But I just pray for JJ. Like at some point, some reality got to hit that brother because I'm like, I don't know, babe. I mean, you don't want to be on practice squad your whole life. Just like
some guys can live that. Oh, I'm just a good special teamer life, but some people don't work for it.
Who was our guy that we love, that wide receiver? We didn't understand what happened, and now he's on the practice squad for some other team too. The wide receiver that we all loved last year, that Carson and him gelled, and then he fell off. Do you know what I'm talking about? And this is gonna bug me because
I know exactly who you're
somebody's
talking
watching
about.
this going, "You dumbasses!" Y'all didn't know who it was. It'll hit me. I'll move on because it'll hit me. But basically, between that big news with Trey Sermon, Rager leaving, and then CJ Gardner, I think at this point what the Eagles are basically saying is, or do you think that Howie is admitting, like, I fucked up?
Yeah, I mean, he knew what he needed to do, you know, and for the past 2 years he's been trying to clean it up. Mm-hmm. He knew he's in a hot seat of like, oh shit, I gotta figure out where the mistakes were made and fix them. You know, and this is what he's doing. He's cleaning house, and I mean, he put together a good roster. So let's see what happens.
Honestly, that's the big thing, is we'll see what happens, because I'm not real quick to crown him. I'm just more like somewhere along the line, something rung in his head, even after they extended. Like, I got to get my shit together. Like, this is.
And I'm so happy that, and I think he also told Lori to leave him alone, stay out of it. Don't
get out of his ear.
Don't ask me for anything. Don't ask me to make draft any player you like. You know, just stay the fuck out of here. Go sign the checks. That's all Lori should be doing.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's like, do you really want to? You don't want to say no to your boss, obviously, but you also don't want to feel like, please don't, like, you know, try to grab me, twist my arm to get somebody who clearly didn't fit. You know what I mean? Then you're embarrassing that kid.
Yeah, and he clearly has a GM for a reason. Right. You know, because he doesn't know how to make those decisions. So why is he going and trying to undermine those things? Yeah, that's what he should be doing. You know.
But to me, that's why that showed me that how desperate they were that one year when that stuff started coming out, because you know, everything was starting to crumble. Doug was starting to tune front office out. Everybody was starting to tune each other out. Carson wasn't talking to Doug. It was just a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, I think Lori was trying to pull his chest out and he's looking at what Jerry Jones was doing, because he was his own GM. You know,
and everybody knows when Jerry dies, that'll be a happy day in Dallasville, because that dude needs to go.
Look at that team. Look at that team. Sometimes they're okay on paper, but then
they're just shiny shit. Like, that's all the Cowboys are. They're just shiny shit.
Turd.
That polished turd. I mean, because honestly, I'm glad that Dad got his health back together, because Lord knows I don't want to see a brother go down early in his career. But
I felt bad for him when he got that.
I did feel bad for him. I felt very bad for him. I told you, I'm all about trying to uplift all the black quarterbacks, but there are some brothers. Let me just ADD for a minute and go, like, Geno Smith ain't got it. I'm sorry, in Seattle. That's not going to work.
They'll figure it out. It's not going to work. He hasn't worked in any position, any team they put him on. He's never worked.
And that's why I said it. I feel bad for them.
They got somebody waiting.
Kaepernick supposedly was an option at one point with them.
I'd take sitting on his couch Kaepernick first before I take Geno.
I'm just saying, like, homie just had his first baby. Congratulations to Kaepernick. They had their first baby. Good for him. But you know, he still got that burn. And even if he never comes back, I think it's the fact that they even entertained him working out for the Raiders and for the Seahawks. Yeah. It just showed me that there's still that option out there, even though I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it anymore. But I'm just at this point where I'm like, you're still staying with guys that are clearly not fit for the quarterback position, because y'all don't want to deal with the political that you think is coming, even though we're all tired of the issue and we know that he was right. So just let it go. You shouldn't be worried about bad press. He was right. So move on.
Yeah.
But besides all that, with the Eagles coming up, we know that September 11th will be the first game, which is creepy. Down in the D. If anybody was watching the Hard Knocks recently, I've just been watching the recaps on Shout Out on the Round in the NFL with our girl Colleen Wolf, who is a local yokel that we love on the NFL Network. Her and Dan Hanses recap the best moments, and it's a funny podcast. Y'all have to watch it. They've been recapping every episode, and I haven't watched it once. I just would rather listen to them. But the most recent episode,
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, they tried to do it in season 1 with the Eagles years back, and it still wasn't that exciting. You know, it was more just like, oh, cool, we did Hard Knocks, but it wasn't the Super Bowl year. So
did you see the clip from Hard Knocks when the guy had the resistance band on? And
and he was talking about his short,
and it snapped off him and hit him in the side.
No.
It is. And his teammate ran over and it was like everybody in the room started laughing. It was like, oh shit, is he
Oh
okay?
no! I thought you were talking about when the coach complimented the guy's shorts because he said they were tight with a nice butt and lined with
No, but
white,
the
and I was
coach
like,
was like
"Yo,
showing the video and he was like, yeah,
oh,
this is how you help your teammate out. He showed him helping him
oh."
like with the resistance band. And then it pops and hits him and then like,
No, I didn't see that.
yeah, it's great. It's
Supposedly,
funny.
one episode coming up now, Eminem is going to visit the team, and they're all like real excited. He's like, "I told y'all, let me line up wherever, whatever position." I'm looking at M like, "What the f you talking about?"
Mm-mm-mm.
I guess he feels that confident with his squad now to finally show his face and like get to know the players because they were excited to have old Marshall walking through there like,
Oh,
"Yo, you
Marshall.
guys got a squad this year," and I'll be like, all I can say with that old Detroit team is that if all I know is game one, Eagles better not fuck that up for the opening
Mm,
game. Like
no,
we don't need that right now, especially when y'all got
no.
so much going on paper and on the field. I'd be embarrassed to be that fan to be like, please don't do this in the opener. Like, please don't suck, especially after the year prior
Yeah,
when they pretty much waxed the Falcons and played very clean football. I would be mad if they go to Detroit and overthink it and lay an egg. But I
yeah,
don't see it happening. But I'm just saying because everybody is excited about the idea of the Detroit Lions having some kind of rebirth due to the show. But I'm more like, look,
yeah,
I like the coach too, but this is not the year to be hoping that that's going to be your team to come from the ashes. There are plenty of teams that probably deserve to get, that second win, and probably most likely either the Bengals or the Bills, or hell, even the
yeah.
Ravens. Because you know me, I'm all about Lamar because I'm waiting for Lamar to get that payday, which should come soon.
It should. It should have
And
came already at this
it should
point.
have been came, but they're scared because they don't want to give no Negro 300 million. God forbid, or
No,
270 million, whatever.
no, they
What
don't.
did Russ just get? He got 245 million
Yeah,
for
Russ
5
got.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Russ got a nice
He got
payday.
a nice little chunk of change, which is deserved because he's polished and he has a ring. So,
Mhm.
sidebar, you have to realize some of these vets, a lot of them don't have that much time left. So for Russ to get a contract like that, that's a good look for him. But then you got people like Tom Brady, who is
Mhm.
only in the news for everything but sports right now. And the only reason why I think I say to that is because is there a point where you outweigh your welcome, and do you feel like the GOAT needs to take a back seat, or did you appreciate his brutal honesty on his first day back in practice and his presser and the way he looked a little disheveled?
I like his honesty. It's good to see him actually just say, "Hey, this is what it is."
Right.
Because it's like sometimes he doesn't do that. It's
He
good to
doesn't.
see him. It was good to see him actually look like a normal human being for a change.
Yes, that's exactly what I
Yeah.
said. He looks human.
So,
He looks defeated. He looks tired. I'm shocked.
shit, he's playing with all these young guys, twice his age now, and it's like,
Hmm. But even at 45, homie was still walking around even when he was 40. Like, these
yeah,
guys don't do nothing to me. But now, for the first time, he looks exasperated
yeah,
and he's late to practice, which never happens. So you can't tell me that a
yeah,
slice of his reality is telling him maybe you should have stopped fucking with everybody and either retired or not even talked about retiring. So now the
yeah.
question is, did he mean to retire or was that leaked by Giselle,
Could have been
trying to get him to stay home?
because she probably wants him home at this point. She's probably tired of taking on kids of hers.
I mean, I don't blame her. Like, come on. She threw her modeling career back because she said, "I'm gonna be a real mom." But she's a hot-blooded Brazilian woman who ain't taking no shit when her
Yeah,
husband lies to her.
I mean
So
that's yeah,
so it's just one of those things that you would never think that it would crack through Brady
yeah,
to let his life come out like that. But again,
yeah,
like you said, what are you gonna
yeah,
do? But
yeah. I
somebody
mean that's
sneaking in,
just
I can tell you're freezing. What's going on?
no. I just fist bumping somebody as it's on the side.
I'm
Yeah,
about to end because I hate when you get distracted. Your head be on the swivel.
no. Somebody said hey to me. I didn't want to be rude and not speak.
No, I understand. You would be like, Mike. Anyway,
No,
but
that's why I put my hand out first. I was like this,
yeah, I know,
just so
but
they
then I
didn't
always
say
get nervous
anything.
because I'm like, you can end it right now if you want to.
Nah,
Um,
nah.
we're at our 25 mark, but what I was going to also add quickly too is when we start the season, we have to also keep in mind that a lot of the new acquisitions, everything still has to gel. So we can't be as I'm saying this to the fans, anybody watching, is that we cannot expect greatness right off the bat. They still got a
Yeah,
lot of gelling to do. There's still a
mhm,
lot of players that literally just got off the bus. I
yeah.
mean, plane
I mean,
or bus shit.
it's a
But
short
yeah,
off season when these that these guys get to actually do anything with each other. So.
Yes, and you have to consider now. I've noticed on TikTok suddenly there's these girlfriends making their accounts talking about their husband or boyfriend a lot more publicly. So now there's going to be a lot of females out there trying to give you another perspective of what it's like if your hubby gets cut. I had saw a couple videos of women talking about cut day is not exciting for us, and so that perspective was kind of different to see because you do wonder, like, it's not just as easy as being like, oh, I didn't make a team, I'll go to another team. Some of these dudes is really wrecked, when they find they don't stay on the team.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's something that they really wanted, and they just
right
told that, oh well, I get up, you can't do it anymore.
Right, and that's the thing. It's different. It's easy to kick Rager and JJ and all those people aside who get kicked off, but sometimes you have to realize, like, especially if they're young and they're not married with kids, it's like you don't know how bad it hurts to not know what your worth is in the NFL. Do you want to go to the CFL? Do you want to go to the XFL? I mean, look at Deshaun Jackson. He's out there waiting for them to call him, and I never thought he'd be just laying out there for. I thought at least he was going to at least last on the Raiders, like as a off the bench option. I don't know what happened. So I'm at this point where it's like there's a point as a fan, when you grew up with certain players and you kind of see them kind of slowly diminish off the plane. You have to really think about that stuff before you tweet and pop off at people. Like, thank God,
definitely.
There's a lot of people's lives who get changed with that kind of stuff. And that's the stuff that interests me as a fan. It's like, how do you mentally pop back from that? And as we go through the season and we watch these games, as excited as I am, I also just have to keep in mind, there's a lot of people who still also want to see Jalen Hurts win as much as you want it. There's people that want to see him lose. So I'm just praying every day this team shows a lot more umption and a lot more togetherness as the season goes on, because it's going to get really exciting come October, November, when they've already had their divisional games for the first round and see how they look, Because, I mean, honestly, you can't sleep on some of these divisions. I'm not totally counting
division games are tough.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people are going to instantly think we own Carson. What if Carson beats us? Like, what if they beat us?
Yeah, I mean, what
if Daniel Jones runs a marathon through the first, the O-line again?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so is that too far fetched to think that, or is it just me?
No, it's not, because they always play well when they always play them well for some reason.
Is it not just me?
No matter who's on there, doesn't matter.
I'm not crazy. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy. I'm being realistic. Like, I always think every game is going to be up to whether or not the team plays good together.
Yeah.
And I want to know.
And division games are rough.
And do we want to see Jalen throw up the field more as opposed to on the side? Because we know that Quez can hit him on the side. Can we see a straight through like he did to Dallas for that first preseason game? I want to see more of that.
Yeah, if it's there, I want him to take it.
Right, and that's the thing, the vision.
And if it's not there,
throw it away.
Stay intermediate if it's not there.
Or throw it away.
You got guys that can break tackles in the short pass.
Right,
game.
this is true. And that's why I say, like, he also should be able to throw it away. Huh? Oh, you with AJ.
That's with AJ there. I mean, he can catch that short pass and open it up for a lot of yards.
Right. So, and that's what you want, because between him and I always have Quez in my mind. I keep forgetting about Devonta. Hello. But you have to think about those three booths of wide receivers who are there. Then you got tight ends that won't quit. Like, Dallas is there like a big-ass target. So there's no excuse for him this year. And I would be the first to say I expect a lot out of Hurts, but I think no one could beat the criticism he has for himself.
Yeah.
So just like Carson did, it's just with, after that Super Bowl year, it wasn't nothing special.
Yeah, he's going to have a balanced game. So that's what
we want.
I think.
And if anything, too, I think you should, Eddie, go back, and if you ever think about it on YouTube, go back and look at that good golden year of the Super Bowl and see if you miss any of those plays that Carson used to make everybody go, how the hell did he do that?
Oh, yeah. I was watching one game the other day, and I was like, it was the one when you thought he was tackled and he pops out of the thing. And I'm like, what the fuck did Wait.
Do you notice that that's always a Washington game, though? You notice a lot of the stuff he's done. Like, somebody just replayed it. Everybody's doing the countdowns and using the numbers. So they were saying it's 11 days away, so they're showing Carson. And then they were showing that throw he did in the end zone to Miles in that Redskins game.
Crazy.
That went through three people.
Tiptoe, right past three people.
Right past him. Like, everybody's like
right past him.
Right. And Miles is on the ground like, oh, Oh, okay. So, but that's why I say the little things with Jalen has shown with that little step back basketball move that fake that Saints player. Expect more of that with Jalen this year. That's why I say you never really appreciate people until they're gone, but we got to embrace what's new. And that's
Yeah.
not a bad crew as far as I'm concerned. I think if anything, this team got really black. We've turned into the Black Eagles. This is gonna be a very there's too many
Yeah.
southern swaggy beautiful black men on this team for this team to suck. I'm sorry, we ain't trying to look that bad. No offense to white guys, although I question whether Dallas is white, but Dallas got a little something in them. But anyway, no, I just feel like this is a very smooth, sorry.
I know that.
Anyway,
I know that's your heart.
That's my boo. Something about the tight ends. Y'all know, check my article on my Twitter while you're on here if you're bored. It's pinned. Anyway, but I'm thankful for this team because it does give me hope. I didn't have any hope for a while. We all know that as soon as the season goes underway, we still got to hopefully hope the Phillies make it to October. We got to wish Embiid and all them the best for preseason because we know that that's coming. And I don't know how the Flyers faithful feel because Flyers is fucked up right now.
They got some work to do. They got a lot of work to do.
They got rehab out the wazoo with that front office. So pray for the Flyers fans.
I'm hoping this coach can come in. Hope this coach, general manager, come in and get this house in order.
Well, they're already trying to do more meet and greet, more social media already. So you can tell he's trying to fire up everybody to be more encouraging. But it's going to be hard. I mean, honestly, diehard Flyer faithful are not to be played with when it comes to their players. So I pray for them. But we also celebrate the Union shout out before we end. Because
they scored. Did you see that they broke a record? Did you see that?
Yes.
Scored a three-game goal.
I think in 3 consecutive games or something like that was some kind of stat. Yeah,
it was 16 or 18 goals.
I mean, Union are a squad for real. So I don't know what the deal.
I keep forgetting that they've won. They won the championship.
They've won, right? And that's what I'm saying. The hashtag Duke. I don't know how you say it, but the hashtag DOOP. I'm definitely a fan of their story, so I'm definitely rooting for the Union. I know we sometimes put the MLS out sometimes because we don't really celebrate all the time, but the Union is making some noise, and with them bringing a lot of the local athletes there to bang this.
So they had Maxi there the other night.
We also saw Maxi. Maxi's been doing a world tour. He's getting a nice little history of every freaking team before he starts playing. Maxi's been a gem. So if there's any reason to still have hope for the Sixers, it's Tyrese Maxey because he is basically becoming our mascot. And
kid, he's putting the work in.
He looks great.
He's putting the work in, which is great.
He looks great. We love his attitude. He's a great positivity. And we can be positive in Philadelphia even if people don't want to believe it, right?
Oh, yeah.
We love our teams. Don't blame us for being passionate. We just love our squad. And to end all, and what is your overall, I know you don't like doing win-loss, Eddie, but if you had to throw a record out there, since now I keep forgetting they're 17, what was your record for our Eagles?
So I'm going to be bold.
Do it.
And I'm going to say 11-6.
All right.
11-6 on the year. I think they can do it. Because I know they finished 9-8 last year. I think they can improve on that and finish out 11-6.
Normally, where I told you last, I always try to stay even because I get freaked out because they ended up going 9-8 last year with the playoff appearance, should I say, because they didn't win, obviously. But I'm with you, and I'm actually going to go bolder and say 12-5.
Oh, look at that. There we go.
I wish I could put effects in here.
And I'm even going to say this. I think they can even win the NFC East this year. I think they can.
You know what? Actually, we're going to say they are.
I think they can.
They can.
You know what? Fuck Dallas.
Fuck that.
I had to say it, so fuck Dallas.
We're going back. We're going back to the Beast of the East because I always used to like that little title we gave.
Yeah.
We used to win consecutively. Eagles are the Beast of the East, and we're going to go back to that title. I miss that title. I miss us usually always winning that. The conference is going to be the battle because NFC ain't nothing to play with as a whole. Maybe not our division, but as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just pray for that. But I'm with you. We're gonna put it in definitely NFC East winners for sure.
Yep.
These Cowboy games might be pretty damn interesting this year, only because they clearly have lost a very important member of their O-line in injury.
Yeah.
And Actually, the Titans just recently lost one of their best edge rushers to an Achilles as well. So you have to consider what it's like. I mean, come on, Eagles got
Yeah.
sweaty. Eagles got all these players in our O line. We need every single and D line. We need every single player on our squad. So can you imagine starting off the season losing your most important edge rusher, if not O lineman? We were there. We know this.
I mean, we had
So
when we lost BG. I mean, that was just like
BG when we lost back when I used to love my boy that was in on the Cardinals that Super Bowl year when we felt like we were losing everybody important for a while.
oh,
Jordan, what's his name?
Matthews. No, Jordan.
No.
Jordan.
We're getting cussed out again. Who was our guy that was
Jordan Hicks.
Yes, Jordan Hicks. That was our boy.
I still have his jersey, number 58.
He was one of my favorites. But anyway,
you know I love the linebacker position. That's my favorite position.
Yes, shout out to ours. When Nakobe Dean is going to kill some people this year.
I'm gonna have to pick up a Nakobe Dean jersey.
You know what? I'm not a fan of jerseys as much anymore.
But
T-shirts. I'm gonna get a T-shirt made probably.
Or TJ Edwards. I don't know, either one.
TJ Edwards, fine. And if not, I'm daring somebody to just get a Jordan Big Baby Davis T-shirt. Because that's what he's gonna be, baby. He's gonna be our big baby. Anyway, all right. So in this, Eddie, I'm with you. I say 12-4. You say 11-6. Shout out to Maul, who might be watching from 4th and John. He says straight up 17-0, and it's in his display name.
He says 17-0.
17-0. He said, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
So I'm all for that optimism. Either way, we know this is gonna be a fun season. Shout out to all those who are going to the actual away games. The only game, if I had the days and the money, I would go to Arizona because I do.
That was one I was thinking about trying to make, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I know, me either, but it would be one of those games I would love. And
because I was Poe.
Look, I was Poe, and PTO ain't free. So at this point now, I appreciate you making time as always, my man.
Always.
Back. The co-ed edition, Eddie will most likely still be in his spot. We still have to work out whether or not we want to do, if not the opener, one of the home games, maybe on StreamYard here. So we'll have to decide about that, but that will be fun. Eventually, we're going to try that. And in between, I told Eddie, me and him this season, for this season 2 of Birds of a Feather co-ed, we're going to do a little bit more individual stuff.
Season 2, it's like season 1, like.
It is, but I'm calling it season 2, damn it, because I haven't been keeping track of episodes. I don't keep track of episodes like 4th and John and all them do. I'm sorry. I could care less. It's season 2 as of today.
I think we're on 4, but I think.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
Technically, since 2017, I've done this pod, but I didn't go video until 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but yeah, so season 2, we want to try some different stuff. We're going to try some different looks, but either way, we're going to get different perspective, male and female, as you can see. And we want everybody to feel this experience with us. So bear with us. Not perfect. I'm not good at graphic. And he just be showing up when I tell him to. So or when he's available, should I say, because he's more busy than me right now. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for being available, Ed. And I'm looking forward to
always a pleasure.
Yes, game 1, homie. Fly Eagles fly. We're gonna get to the point where once we get to the first game, we definitely gonna have an emergency pod, depending on how the 9/11 Detroit game shakes out. So, but we're all positive here, baby. We love you, Eagles players. Anybody watching?
Yeah.
Peace out.
Fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly. Co-ed edition. We out. Bye.